Ship's log, entry 10-36. Which crew members are loyal to the cause of ice cream? Ophelia, the gift head of Sapient Resources. Barry, the classified research project. King Humongous, wild magic anomaly and agent of chaos. This is insufficient. Memo to Ophelia, classification top secret. Please evaluate all Velvet Fox's initiative personnel for devotion to Lickham's brand mission. Provide alternative captain options to the ineffective rule of the Elder Brain Slack Dumil. Explore the possibilities of joining an alliance with Yaush the Beholder, Admiral Grice the Illithid, or Dracus the Mind Flayer Elder Brain. In addition, please prepare a threat profile for the creators of the Formith Cubes, the alien species known as the Surlon. This is a time-sensitive mission. We have until Tully's monsters return from their trip to the Beholder homeworld. The preparations to activate the dairy golems are complete. However, the clone bodies will be of no use to us without central psychic authority. This is the most delicate phase of our mission. With careful planning and subtle manipulation, we can ensure that the Mind Flayer Civil War rages for 10,000 more years. The current projections estimate an average annual growth rate, AAGR, of 27%, more than 7% better than our closest competitor. It doesn't matter who is in the pilot seat. I, the DM Rezubian, am the most important thing of all creation. Dumil, Yaush, Grice, Dracus, Surlons, no matter who is at the controls, I choose the course of history. All prophets, from the beginning of time to the final breath of life in the cosmos, are mine to command. I am the flavor. I am the cold. I am eternal. I am
ice cream.
I found a roulette of which Golden Girl character are you, and I spun it a couple times until I got Dorothy. I'm not proud of what I am, but I'm okay with it. But I saw somebody who was happy to get Sophia, and I was like, you're an alien as far as I'm concerned. That is the bargain bin of Golden Girl characters if you have to get one of them.
I'll be honest, I think I'm a Sophia. I think I am. I can admit that about myself.
Honestly, now that you say it, you are Sophia. You are a bit of a Sophia.
Have you noticed that we talk about like news events or tabletop or video games? Quinn just sits quietly, probably listening to Sonic music, staring into the distance. Someone mentions TikTok and she lights up like the 4th of July. It's every neuron firing simultaneously.
In my defense, it's a little bit of both, because if I stay quiet throughout the whole thing, then you'll yell at me. So I'm like, I gotta pick and choose where I make my presence. Now I am going back to Sonic the Hedgehog music. I'll see you guys when it's time for our first roll.
So last time we were here, there was a broken hot dog sticker. I think was where we left off.
Yeah, right. We have to repair the hot dog sticker because that's what's going to fix causality.
Yes. So the hot dog sticker being there indicates that Yaush went back in time, completed his plan, and is also not happy with the results.
Yeah, not to say he didn't complete it, but like it didn't make him happy to do it. It didn't bring him happiness to do whatever it was he wanted to do in time.
Yaush there have been opportunities for Yaush to just like get therapy, and they clearly just have not embraced it. So
We've met one therapist in this campaign, and she was evil, so...
Wait, well, actually, hold on. Yaush did meet that therapist and turned her into an agent for his plan, so maybe therapy wasn't the choice for him.
Yeah, so we got some information because of the sticker. We also have Yaush being ceramorphosed into a blanked, what is it? What is those things called? The Mind Flayer beholders?
Mind Witness.
Mind Witness, yeah. So we're a Mind Witness that should have all the all the personality of Yaush. And the only thought that's been in my head is like, do I need to do any extra work healing up Yaush in this time? Or are we going to investigate this sticker a bit more in this room that we're in?
So you have put Yaush in the hammock in his private quarters, and you see the seromorphosis process completely rearranging his body. It takes a week for this transformation. I guess I could have made you roll for that, but let's just say you are on this mission for Illithid Peace. You're roughly aware of seromorphosis. And if you think of the core beholder, just like a big orb with a bunch of stalks on top ending in eyeballs, the Mind Witness has that basic shape, but it also, at the bottom of the orb, has a bunch of grasping tendrils without eyes at the end, and the mouth, instead of being in the center to eat adventurers, is going to go down to the bottom. If you think of it like, an octopus, essentially, where the tendrils will be able to put things in the mouth that is, like, hidden on the bottom there. This is, like, a pretty gruesome process. I imagine, like, Yash's whole jaw, like, breaking and distending and shifting down. It's, like, really grotesque. So I think you're pretty worried about moving him during this. I think you're going to be stuck in this bunker for a week.
I was going to say, this is a prime opportunity to do some like sound design with like just snapping carrots and celery stalks in half to just really convey the tone here. But
when you started saying this is a perfect time for some sound design, I was like, oh, is this just like your downtime activity? It's like, oh yeah, no, this is what I do when I'm not like
no,
trying to do Illithid Peace talks.
No, I mean Max definitely would not be doing that. Yeah. Maybe I would.
Yeah.
But
who brought a week's worth of keep yourself entertained activities here?
Other things to note about Yaush physically, the most common beholder kind of skin color, kind of skin situation is like a brownish, almost armored situation, kind of like a rhinoceros. You see the skin become much more rubbery, like a squid or something, and kind of change from a brownish color to like almost a bloody red.
Yeah, like it's the only thoughts that Max would have. It's like being here for a week, assuming that we left Cammy back at the Resumium, just like that would be stressful for Max just to be that far away from Cammy for that long. But beyond that, it's just sort of like the only other thing that Max could propose as a generalized goal is if we're going to go back in time, we need to figure out, when/what, and apparently the Surlons, I think, were the ones that might know that information based on what they know. So,
I think the thing that makes the most sense is that we send a message to Rizubi and what's happening, and then when Yaush finishes his seromorphosis in a week, we can try to pump him for information and point out you clearly were not happy with what your plan was.
Yeah, because that because maybe it's nothing, but like if Yaush went to the future, went to the past, left the sticker here, they may have left some other things that might tell us something of what happened or how it went, or we might be able to learn something about the past we're going to go to.
So, I mean, like I said, we could see if there's any other clues about what happened here in the immediate, and then, we can hunker down here for a week just as a group, or we can split off for a little bit and, have someone stay here to keep an eye on Yaush during the seromorphosis and see what we can figure out information-wise otherwise.
Well, let's get to it then, and Buford's going to, start trying to, turn on Yaush's computers and figure out what he can from what's here.
Yeah. Look for if there's a folder called Stuff I Learned in the Past. Is there a folder with that name? That might be useful.
Okay, then I'll just go through Yaush's computers and see what I can figure out.
All right, roll investigation.
29.
My sweet merciful Christ, that's extremely good. So you leave this conversation before while other people are standing around. Yaush is kind of cracking bones and deforming bodily structure, and you just start popping the hatches off of consoles, plugging your wetware connectors into things. You're just going full cyberpunk mode, and you download a bunch of data. I think you already know where the Sirlons are because of the stuff you got from the robot you saved, Max. What else would you like? I'm trying to think specifically what to give you because you already know where to go, and then you know that the Rezubian is the key. So I'm trying to think what else is even left in the campaign for you.
I mean, yeah, there was the only thing I could think of is that if there was any sort of note taking done on it, is there an indication of why Yaush is not happy still from what happened, or something like that?
This would have been before all that occurred, I think. Okay. It sounds like we have to raid a pretty heavily defended Sirlon installation to get this. Yaush had other beholder friends by this point. Maybe we contact them for help and can get their, I don't know, designations through his records.
Yeah, so Yaush has a whole army, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a fleet of the what you might call progressive beholders, the ones who want to be more sociable and have a society. Would you send out a message to the fleet and be like, hello, this is Yaush, I am now in control? Or would you be more honest, I guess is the word I wanted to use there, and just try to explain things. Because I guess it's a deception or persuasion role.
It's bad for me either way. And maybe at this point I get Cecilia on here as the communications officer to help me write this email like I do at my real job. I would think...
You shouldn't start with, hey, dickheads. I feel like that's where we need to begin. The salutation's usually a good grounding state to everything. You call them dickheads several more times throughout, so it's kind of redundant to begin with, but certainly not at the start.
I'm used to mostly emailing bureaucrats back at my real job, and that gets frustrating. I apologize. I have a secretary that kind of edits this down for me. He's a nice guy.
Then... literally suggest instead you start with listen, cunts, and then we go from there.
This is an inside joke because Joe put that in the group chat when we went to Taco Bell without her. And she said, "Listen, cunts."
Honestly, I would be disappointed now if correspondence don't start that way.
But I'm serious because there's 3 factions in Rezubian at this point. There's the old school Mind Flayers, the new school Illithids, and the new school Beholders. Old school Beholders aren't really a faction. Their whole defining thing is they don't want to be a faction. But they're out there. But as far as the battle of the 3 armies, you have the leader of one of the armies. You spent the last couple of episodes kind of breaking down his psyche and then saving his life. And you just rolled a 29. So there's a world in which you become the generals of the new Beholder army here.
Mm-hmm. I would think that in this case, cards on the table, honesty is probably the best plan. I'm guessing that his army doesn't know what Yaush's actual plan is. But I guess we would have to tell them that Yaush has a blank tadpole in him that will keep him with his own mind, and we have to protect him for the span of a week and then execute his actual plan to save the world. And hopefully this can become a unifying force between, I guess, the progressive... since we're talking about the battle of the 3 armies, I guess kind of the vibe is that part where the elves jump over the dwarves and start fighting against the orcs with them. I guess that's the angle I'm trying to get to here.
Yeah, I mean, let's run this down again, right? There's the progressive Illithids, kind of represented by Admiral Grice, who you have a great relationship with. There's the old school Mind Flayers, who represented by Drakus, who you're actually in a strange, uneasy alliance with. None of these people are like kill the Tully's monsters on sight, which is interesting. I thought going into this kind of finale, some people would be gunning for you more vehemently. And now there's Yaush, who once again, I did not know that this was going to end in hot dog family. Never in a million years did I think this is where we were going. So all these people you can be in a room with without dying instantly, but they aren't going to get along with each other necessarily.
Well, my only real contribution to this is, and this is going to sound like a joke, but I sincerely mean this. While you're here, go rooting around on this PC looking for anything embarrassing you can find about Yaush. Because if we're going to try and eventually get all these people in a room to talk things out, having embarrassing, the folder of embarrassing fan fiction or whatever for Yaush, that's just one less person who will have, one more person with an incentive to, actually sit around for the talks.
Well, we're not trying to get everybody down at a table to talk, though, right? There's, a fundamental thing that the Drakus Illithids and the Grice Illithids are not going to coexist. That is pretty clear, a not going to happen thing. So it's more, we're looking to see who we get to help us get to the Furlongs? Is that what we're asking?
Sirlongs, yeah.
No, I wanted to be the Edward Furlongs now. There are a species of only Edward Furlong.
Yeah, because it's basically, I guess the Resubian Peace mission is a lot more like how many people can you convince away from Drakus' side before before a cutoff and it just becomes all out war again fully.
It's like we're playing the game Flayer Emblem, and we're just trying to accrue enough people in the army through properly executed conversations to get them all to be on our side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my thoughts would be we tell Yaush's fleet the truth. He is alive. He's stable. His mind will be intact. This was the only way to save his life. And the only way to complete his big plan that he has sold to all of you is to get the information from the Sirlons.
With the 29, you can open channels to the whole Beholder fleet. You have access to all the codes and stuff that you need to send to authenticate your transmission. And now you have the platform, you have the floor, and I need a persuasion check from someone.
All right, I will help draft a very formal message. I guess, yeah, I'm going to help create a little fancy, formal message, since we're deciding to do this honestly, that gives the Beholders essentially all the information of the situation about Yaush's status and everything like that, and our plans to eventually go at the Sirlons. And I will roll a persuasion for that. I got an 18, but that goes up to a 23.
Why is there a 31? What's that?
I'm rolling with disadvantage still. I still have exhaustion.
Oh my god.
Austin, what would you have given for a 31 on persuasion? I need to know what that would have looked like.
They would have been like, yes, ma'am.
Cecilia is so eepy. So very, very eepy.
I'm just a sleazy little guy.
So that's a 21, you said?
No, 23, because my 5 goes up to a 10.
All right, so with a 23, you draft the perfect email to whom it may concern. Circling back, just want to touch base per our previous conversation.
Yeah, per the above email.
This is your actual day job. Is doing this. Listen, cunts. We got your boy. He's good. His all of his bones are breaking and moving, but in a good way. Don't mind the screams. Yeah, I think you send this.
We're
out
a hot dog family now. You guys can be a part of it if you'd like. There are badges.
If you want to get broken hot dog tattoos, that, seems like it's probably going to be a thing.
Well, maybe full hot dogs, because that indicates happiness.
Yeah.
The Beholder fleet tell you to stay in the bunker, and they're going to come to get you, because if you try poking your head out, you're going to be immediately ambushed by old school Beholders who you killed some of their people coming in, and they're just circling the planet, just looking for you to come out so they can waste your ass.
Trizzy is going to spend like a solid 2 days of this week drafting and then deleting and then drafting and then deleting and then drafting and then deleting emails to Emma that all sort of summarize to, I'm really sorry, I was a dumbass and didn't see what was going on. Our time has passed, I was too late. And then deleting it and going, this is a very bad idea. She's gonna really, really just like sink a couple of days into reminiscing on what could have been there and debating and going, no, I must.
Have you tried starting the email with "sup cunt"?
That's like 45% of my drafts, but like I somehow feel like that's other Trizzy's vibe more than it's mine. I'm just gonna come across as imitating.
Well, you other Trizzies are just imitating what the real Trizzy. Please stand up. Please stand up.
That's an evil universe Trizzy move, and I'm not saying it's an evil thing to do. I'm saying I wish I could be, I had evil Trizzy energy. I just don't.
So you're all spending a couple days here in the bunker. There's not like human food. I say human, you know what I mean. There's not like food that any of you would find particularly tasty in here. So you probably have like, in your packs some MREs or something, maybe in the Tully. You're all feeling a little worn down. You're not getting the full benefits of a long rest, even though you are sleeping. You have to go back home to your comfy bunks on the Rezubian for that. But as you're trying to, keep sane and keep an eye on Yaush, who is apparently suffering terribly, just watching his entire body kind of break and reassemble is difficult. And, you're all doing the best you can with what medical supplies you have. One night, Trizzy, you go to bed, and I think in a big Beholder hammock here in the quarters. And when you wake up, you are not in the bunker anymore.
Cool, where am I? I bet it's somewhere fun.
Actually, I think the feeling that you associate with your surroundings is fun. You look around. You probably are not in a hammock. You're like in a rafter somewhere, like hard metal scaffolding underneath you. You can hear sounds of talking and clattering all around you. You look out in each direction, and you just see these long gangways, basically a work site. There's scaffolding everywhere. There's the sound of hammers and drills and soldering irons. You're clearly at some kind of work site. Is there anything you want to add to the scene that you find yourself in, which appears to be the construction of the DM Rezubian?
Despite this being somewhere that, Trizzy could have gone, Trizzy definitely could have gone home to sleep. I think Trizzy is in a makeshift little nest of sorts. This is the job, and while I'm on the job, this is where I am. So I think there is maybe it's just some some rags from the construction site and some sacks sort of piled up somewhere up in the rafters, but it's this is my little soft spot for a little nap while I'm at work. It's the equivalent of I'm gonna hide behind the big cardboard boxes to take a nap when I should be, working in the storeroom vibes.
Yeah, that's adorable. So you kind of pull yourself out of your nest and look around. You're not yet wearing your iconic big suit of armor. You're just a little greasy goblin. There are, just within your field of view, hundreds of other workers on the site. Building a kind of generation class ship of the Rezubian size takes a construction site like the size of an entire small town. It's like an earthworks that, is an economy unto itself. And you can even you're from your vantage point up here on a scaffolding, you can't see the end of the construction. That's how huge this place is. But you are scheduled to go work on the reactor core today.
Yeah. I think for reference, Trizzy has specifically picked this spot sort of up in the rafters to make this nest because she's gonna wake up a little earlier. Like she wakes up a little before she needs to for a shift, just to be able to look down and go, okay, which crews are where? Where were we up to? Like, how much happened while I was asleep? I gotta keep reference. Where we at? Yeah, nice little bird's eye view.
Yeah, you're the kind of engineer who like specializes in the guts of spaceships. You love being deep in there, but you definitely also enjoy like looking at other people doing their stuff out here and being like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, it's
Yeah. I think there's a certain degree of like watching little workarounds, like trying to take like break bits off a donut and bring them back to the nest. It's like, oh yeah, everyone's just like doing their little thing down there. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and you see this diverse group of Earthling engineers. There's big orcs carrying steel beams. There's the elves with blueprints, like pointing at things, being like, "Oh, we need to lift that up a quarter of a meter." And there's humans milling around, being like, "Oh, the financial projections. This ship is so expensive," and you're just making your way through this almost buzzing hive of activity in a ship that you will go on to live in for years. And in another timeline, you were in it when it exploded. So you have a lot tied up in this ship.
Indeed. As Trizzy makes her way to her shift, she is making note of where like all the good ice cream machines are being piped in, just in case.
Yeah, there's all of everyone's safety hats. They're like big yellow hard hats, have the Lickums logo on it. Can you paint me the picture of like the moments leading up to the accident where you were basically tied to the ship in some emotional way? We've alluded to this now and then, but I think now we get to see it.
So, I think this is a little ways into Trizzy having worked on, been working on this ship. I think it's long enough that she feels very familiar. It's sort of moved out of the phase of I'm having to consciously think about the work and like learning all the specifics of how the crew is. It just sort of is happening. It's a little second nature at this point. So Trizzy sort of, without even really thinking about it, sort of like scuttles in, scribbles on the clipboard on the wall without even looking at it, and sort of jumps right into work with everyone else. And I think this day very much looks like any other when it's starting. Trizzy is very lasered in on her own work and not necessarily giving any relevance to what anyone else around her is doing. She's getting very in the zone and just go, gotta get this done. I have my list of tasks I've got to do today. I've been thinking about it before I even came in. I know exactly what things I have to do. Anything around me is irrelevant to that fact. Very tunnel visioned in. And I think where things start to go wrong on this day is very much because of that. I think that there are mumblings that if, we were to zoom out from Trizzy, would make it clear something's up. And it's not necessarily even with what she's working on, but, someone else working on something is bringing up that one of the pressure readings isn't where it's supposed to be, and someone else is complaining that, like, they couldn't find a connector that they needed, so they've had to bodge job a different connector. And these are all things that should be relevant to the group of people working here today. But as far as Trizzy's concerned, whatever their problems are, that's for them. They can work out their stuff. If they got stuff going wrong, they can sort it out. I've got my jobs, I'm on it. And as such, things that Trizzy really should have stopped to, go, maybe I hold off on this job until we check that everything upstream of it is fine. She sort of just barrels ahead. Head first into whatever is about to happen.
Yeah, are you the only one affected? Is this like you got a whole work crew blasted or something? Or are you like, get out of here, nerd, I'm gonna do it, and you like just audaciously own yourself? What is the moment.
I very much think this is overconfidence. I think other people around the crew have realized things aren't going right today a little earlier, but it's a little while before the scale of what's going wrong is obvious. And when the alarms start going, Trizzy suddenly goes, Oh, that was actually a problem. You couldn't deal with that. And as everyone is sort of trying to put out fires metaphorically and physically, Trizzy is going to quite overconfidently storm out and go, Look, I've been on top of all my jobs today. Have you really not sorted any of these things out? Are those problems still going on? Just look, get behind the doors, shut the doors up so that this thing so that you can all stay out my way. I'll get on top of this. What was it? The pressure's not working. You used the wrong valve on the thing. How big of a problem could it be? Just get out my way. I'll get it sorted. And Trizzy gets to work fixing a bunch of things, several of which she wasn't paying enough attention to know were going wrong as well. And as parts of the machinery start to glow and hiss and break apart at the seams, there is a moment where Trizzy realizes she really kind of overestimated how much of this she could fix. As the big flash of light starts to spread out and it becomes clear that this is a problem.
So you remember a big flash of light coming towards you, and then do you just wake up in a snarling wreckage? Is there anything else in between those moments?
I think in between there is a feeling, and it is something hard to quantify in the moment. It would take Trizzy a few days to put words to what she felt in the flash, but in that moment she felt almost rooted in position, tethered by something deep inside her to the spot she was in. And that is the main feeling that she held on to before waking up in the wreckage of what once was the room she was meant to be working on.
In your memory, when you wake up in the wreckage, there are people shouting, someone saying, medic, medic, and they're dragging you out and checking your vitals. Nothing but the top of the line medical care on this work site, and you are physically fine after a short recovery period. But here, you instead are greeted by an almost eerie silence. It's suddenly as if everyone else has disappeared off the work site, and you're under some rubble, and your ears are ringing, and it's hard to focus your eyes because of the brightness of the flash. And you find yourself, splayed out on the ground, and no one has come to help you.
For a while, Trizzy just lies there. I think she doesn't necessarily immediately note that there's anything wrong with that.
I like that, though, because, you are waiting for someone to come help you. Your character arc has been about you going from someone who has difficulty socializing to someone who has friends you rely on. And so you're just laying here, you're surely someone will come. That's who I am now. And you wait for a while. Whatever this is, whatever memory you're in, time doesn't work the way it should. So it feels both like a couple of moments and forever. You're laying here.
Yeah.
When a shadow falls over you. And you look up and you see a large metal orb kind of floating above you. And as it kind of gets right over top of you, you're looking up into the glare of the sun, and you can make out some of the features on it. It has a number of stalks coming out of the top, which appear to end in camera lenses, and has one big central camera eye and a big mouth filled with what appear to be like drill bits. This appears to be a cyber beholder.
A cyber holder.
Uh-huh.
Aha. Okay. I'm not a specialist in interpreting dreams, but I'm worried about the beholders, but also I don't like living in a CCTV state. I'm gonna guess that's what this dream means.
The beholder kind of floats down and looks like with its one central eye into your face. All of the other camera stalks are like looking all around. And this thing with its huge mouth that's like dripping oil like saliva. And it just says, "You've ruined me."
Who are you?
I am Yaush. Or I was. Or I will be. Our anger was so powerful and beautiful. And you've made me pathetic. And you've broken all my bones.
Well, the other option was you being dead. And I think that being dead is more pathetic than being whatever you're gonna be now.
No, the other option is instead of giving me the runaround and trying to endear me to the child with hot dog stickers, you could have done what I asked and helped me save the world.
Yeah, and we can still save the world without, agreeing to let you rewrite time to make yourself the hero without earning it.
The mind witness you've created may help you go back to the status quo, but I am not going to give up on Yaush's dream.
I mean, we didn't intend to stop you doing that. We put the tadpole in you expecting you to come out Yaush. And still want all the things that you wanted as Yaush.
That thing doesn't deserve my name.
Well, we try to make a judgment call because you were dying. We try to make the call that we thought was going to intrude least on your ability to be you while still not dying.
It's going to be a long week. Yaush has many dreams to dream. Of his anger, his cunning and ruthlessness, his wonderful plans.
Well, if you need someone to dream angry dreams at, you can make me lie here in the rubble alone and miserable every night you need to, if that'll make you feel better. Because I know I'll wake up and be surrounded by friends, so it's all Gucci.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
Don't like how ominous that was. Get out of my dream. Let me get back to dreaming. This is a lovely dream. This is dreaming about being in rubble. Who doesn't love that? Oh.
Cecilia, Mathers, Max, Buford, you wake up the next morning and you don't see Trizzy around. You scavenge to try to find something edible. You go look through some papers trying to find anything useful. Check on Yaush. So you have the body horror is going well. And then you go eventually to try to find Trizzy, and you find her unconscious in a hammock. And next to her, floating in the air, is a large metal sphere covered in camera tendrils. This is a cyber beholder that the mind witness dreamed about.
Does it have, can I do an Arcana check on it?
Absolutely.
Uh, 16, I botched, but it technically becomes 25. So 25 and a botch.
What a fucking strange ass roll that
I don't think
is.
there's a point in anyone else rolling.
I mean, like for shits and giggles, I could try this roll and see if my +1 does something.
25, yay.
Two things happen. One is that you succeeded, so you know, Cecilia, that beholders, their reproductive cycles, that they dream other beholders into existence, and that appears to be what happened with Yaush. He is basically in fitful, fevered dreams as his brain is rearranged. He's undergoing like the most grotesque imaginable body horror, and is just dreaming about various things, and they just become real because of the nature of beholders. But it appears that the beholder that has been created here is still asleep, and no matter what you do, you can't wake Trizzy up. You botched, so I'm going to put that in my pocket for in a minute. But I think you probably want to tell everybody else, hey, Trizzy's unconscious, and now we have two beholders.
Yeah, I want to turn to Mathers and say, hey, Mathers, do you want to be a big brother?
What I have to do is a lot of responsibility.
You just have to make sure this little guy doesn't wake up and start trying to kill people, and you gotta be a good security guard and take care of your brother or sister or whatever. You know, this is a big responsibility. You have to be the older sibling here.
Mathers salutes with every terrible vampire tentacle and says, I will watch brother.
Excellent. Good soldier. I will explain that Trizzy is unconscious but alive and seems to be under some sort of effect here. But I also need to pull Buford aside at some point.
Yeah, before you do that, I will add, I put the botch in my pocket, but you did roll really well, so I want to add a little bit more context here, which is that mind witnesses are, psychic, they're psionic. One of the things that being, an illithid hybrid gives you is like psychic powers, right? So basically they are like a node in a hive mind that has pulled Trizzy and the Cyber Beholder in. Essentially, they're all like networking. This is like Elder Brains can do this on an even larger scale, but Mind Witnesses, that's like one of their useful traits. And what makes them so unbeholdery is that they can literally link people, and they have this, these dreams with reality warping powers. So you add those two things together, and Trizzy's going on a dream adventure.
All right. So one of the rooms I feel like we approached before this one had ships and things like that in it of some kind, or vehicles.
Yeah, you landed the Tully in the hangar.
But there were other vehicles as well, right?
Yeah, there were some vehicles in the hangar.
Okay. I want to pull Buford aside and say, I need you to do something for me.
All right. This won't be something that actually is banned by Rezubian's protocols that I didn't think to check. It's gonna get me in more hot water. I need to ask that at this point.
It's kind of like a gray area. But
I can work with that.
I implicitly trust you, so that kind of negates a lot of things, right?
It's more that, is this going to be adding another concurrent life sentence?
This should not show up on your tribunal.
All right.
I don't have a ton of blood to work with right now, but I think I have enough if I really stretch it. However, there's going to be periods where I am going to be right on that cusp of freaking right the fuck out and trying to drink everyone's blood. So if you could just lock me in one of these cars when that happens, absolutely destroy it to make it impossible for me to get out. And then a couple hours later, break a door off or something, and I can get out. It should be fine if we do the math right.
All right, I can work with that. My one concern is this going to be a scenario of, oh no, I've calmed down now. Please let me out, and so we can have your delicious blood.
Well, the goal is to ration out the blood, so I will be in there while I am in the fit of needing blood and destroying everything possible, but then at the end of it, I get blood. So, it's a little carrot and stick scenario. I get a lot of stick. There's a lot of stick to deal with, but that carrot's still kind of worth it.
I guess the concern is, how do I know when you're out of the fit? Is it just going to be vibes? Is that's sort of what we're working? We could, Bridget's cat, Dr. Sneakers, it kept trying to scratch up all the furniture, and we just had to sort of teach it that this was an unpleasant thing for it to do with some negative conditioning. I don't really have blood anymore. If you try to drink that, maybe it'll sort of make you deeply uncomfortable and then not want to drink regular people blood.
Yeah, I don't really get. It's not really like a lesson to be learned kind of state. It's going to kind of just like very painful withdrawal. So, I will give you like a timetable to work with, and sort of like 2 hours after I go inside the car, you can give me a little blood then. And then I will be good for a bit. And then eventually, like 8 hours later, it'll be time for another car or whatever.
All right, so we're sort of going into a Hannibal Lecter dropping a basket into a hole scenario here.
Whatever helps you to do this, just eventually let me out of the car with some blood, please.
Okay, yeah.
I've done the math myself. I really just need you to put me in the car and then eventually let me out.
All right, I can do that.
Excellent.
Do you want Mathers in there with you, or
absolutely not? I will rip him from fucking shreds. It is. You ever hear like those things like, "Oh, I died, and then my cat ate me afterwards"? It would be like that.
Should he be in his? He also needs blood. Is he gonna need his own car?
Ah, shit. Well, I guess we could stretch it out a little bit further. I'll have to check to see how much blood he brought with him. These will be numbers. We'll work itself out. He shouldn't need the car.
All right, we can work with
just
this.
Batteries. God forbid you let fucking Mario die. Holy shit, he will lose his goddamn mind.
I guess problem at hand here. We have a sleeping, fully healthy newborn beholder here. Yosh is going through, let's say, the night terrors of the century. He is meeting intimately with the Hat Man right now. We don't know what the personality of this cyber beholder is going to be. I'm looking at him. He looks scary. Let's be honest here. Looks pretty scary. Does Trizzy, I guess, like, have any? Is she just blank comatose, or is there, like, if you look at someone who's having a nightmare, you can tell they're having a nightmare? I guess I'm trying to get a sense of, like, oh, what's the mental state of these two sleeping people?
Yeah, I'm 21. She seems stable. She just seems like she's not waking up. She is in a hive mind with a creature who's in a coma, so she's also in a coma.
Do we got any tinfoil maybe put around her head?
Okay. So Buford, you lock Cecilia in a beholder version of a Jeep in the hangar, and then you go to make a tinfoil hat for the goblin. Inside the Jeep, Cecilia, you go into blood withdrawals, and you try to remain calm, but eventually you also lose consciousness, and you botched. I'm taking the botch out of my pocket. Can you describe to me the thirstiest Saint Cecilia has ever been for blood? And what that scene looked like.
Depending on how the thirstiest sentence ended, that could have been very different.
Because I believe you've said explicitly, I've never drank blood from a person. Yeah. So what's the closest you've ever come?
I imagine there was some period a very, very long time ago, but like just like in a time where there's like the Knight Templar kind of shit going on, where they're like, oh, we'll just starve the blood beast or something like that, essentially being like a prisoner or something like that. Because like that, or like it had to be a situation where it's just never offered in some way. Like she's always existed at a time where there's been a synthetic blood option, so she's never had that. So it would have to have been like a situation where it was just deprived completely.
So you were captured by the Elvish Inquisition, and they held you in a tower?
Oh no, they're elves?
In Spelljammer, elves are actually the fascists by default, and the orcs are good. In traditional Spelljammer, it's kind of
hell yeah,
a flipperoonie.
Orc.
They're actually called Skro, which is orcs backwards.
Maybe I got like a cool Skro friend who helped get me out of there.
Wow, that's cute. So yeah, you're like in a medieval tower. They have you chained up, and you're like at the bottom of an oubliette, and then a cool scrow comes and helps you out. And are you all like fucking bedraggled? Do you become like like feral physically, like changed, like so, you know?
Yeah, I think visually there is like a very like there's like no pupils almost. They're like very very tiny, and the rest of the eyes are just like feral and focused in a very uncomfortable way. And like yeah, like very angular is I guess the way to describe. Like every body part just seems like it's at a jutted angle at this point.
Okay, so actually, I think you're like you and your scrow friend are like making your way through the tower, and you have to like fight some guards and like pick some locks, scale some cool architecture, doing some Assassin's Creed shit. And when you get down to the ground, you're like making your escape. You go turn to your friend to say, "Hey, thanks for saving me," and you find yourself face to face with a beholder.
Who are you?
It's me, Yaush. Don't you recognize me? He says. And this beholder has face paint on, reminiscent of a clown. The white grease paint and the colorful like reds and blues. Each of the eye stalk ends in a jingly little bell. All the teeth are like big candy corn. It's like the whole thing is really garish and loud, unlike the muted earth tones of a traditional beholder.
I like to think there's a moment where say it was like pulling up their hand and their claws to like just rip this person to shreds, but it like she pauses for a moment and starts to process this person, and her eyes start to like regain, their sense, like their size, and she just kind of like straightens herself up and says, "What are we doing here?"
Before I was captured and had brain surgery performed on me against my will, I was a pretty funny guy. I had a sense of humor. I wasn't always like this.
I'm sure you were great at parties, but I don't really understand what this is about.
Oh my god, Yash had one bad day.
Uh-huh. It's your dream too. Why are you dreaming about this?
Perhaps because I'm going through blood withdrawals protecting you.
And I'm sure the Mind Witness will be very thankful. And you are all a family now. But when I wake up, I'm not going to be that person.
I want to know what you want, because you have to have realized you lost. You put yourself on a gambit. You threatened everyone on board our ship with your plan, and it didn't make it in time. We did what we had to do to keep you alive and save everyone aboard our ship. But your plan failed. Whatever gambit you were working towards did not work out. That is how life goes sometimes.
As long as the Rezubian exists, my plan isn't over. If you want to defeat me, destroy your ship.
I guess, can I do an insight in a dream? Does that work? Okay. Do I still suffer the effects of exhaustion inside of a dream?
That's a great question. I think, are you feeling refreshed? I think you're going through blood withdrawals. I don't think you're feeling less exhausted.
This is technically REM sleep right now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, are you dreaming about being exhausted, or are you having a dream in which dream you is refreshed?
Yeah, I just hung out with my cool screw friend. So I feel like I should be super refreshed. I don't remember them at all, but they seem cool.
It's up to you.
All right, well, I crit on my first one, so it's actually irrelevant.
Oh, holy Christ. Yeah, you did really, really well, obviously. I think what we're talking about here is that you're in a hive mind with Yaush. Yaush makes dreams become real beholders, and this is your dream. So the things that have been bouncing around in your mind, Lisa and her recovery, all of the, recent fights you've been getting into, this fucking beholder who's been vexing you, have just, from your subconscious, you have created a creature. And because it's in the hive mind with you, it knows everything in your mind. And it is, you won over the mind witness character. Like, he's on your side. But all these newborns are not going to be.
Okay. I guess that's what I wanted to clarify by the insight, is to check to make sure that this wasn't something where Yaush is like, actually, I've planted a secret version of me on the Vesuvian. You don't have to blow it up to stop me or something like that.
No, I think you've succeeded. Like, you went through a multi-episode arc. There was the whole, everyone had a lot of conversations about all this stuff. You saved his life. Hot Dog family is real.
Okay.
The mind witness is on your team, and actually you have his army. I'm not taking that from you. But all of you are stuck in this bunker, and it's being populated with, the subconscious, all the things that are bubbling up in your psyche and in his, right? Like, he was still this extremely homicidal warlord person for years. Like, those feelings didn't retroactively disappear forever.
Quick, dream of a other beholders that aren't our original Yaush trap. Just dream a Yaush trap up.
I think
manifest your dreams.
I was about to say, can I dream of blood? But I think that just makes another blood kissed. So
yeah, that's how that works.
I will say to this person then, what is this beholder in front of me? All right, perhaps I don't really know you, which in any case is a good opportunity for us to try to start on somewhat of a better foot.
I know this trick. You used it on the old Yaush. You've become friends. It becomes harder to kill you. I'm not gonna fall for this.
I'm gonna test the boundaries of this stream, see how far it lets me get. See if I can't hook up with old Uncle Strahd in his place, because that's where I chilled for a bit after all of this. You kind of laid low for a little bit.
Okay, so you just turn and walk away from the clown beholder?
I'm gonna say, you could follow if you want, but I'm going to leave. I have no fondness for this place.
Okay, you just start walking away, and Clown Yaush floats after you, just honking a little horns at you, just doing obnoxious clown shtick. Just one big, huge eye, laser focused on your back, as you just make your way like you did in years past across the elf territory where you were captured.
Your buffoonery could use some work. I feel like you're not incorporating pratfalls enough, and I understand you're floating, so it's a little difficult to do them, but you have to understand the essence of a pratfall is what's really important.
Max and Buford, you wake up on the next day, and Cecilia is still locked in the Jeep. You can peek in the window, and you see there is a sleeping clown beholder in there.
Buford? Why did you lock Cecilia in a thing with a beholder in it?
So she didn't try to drink all of your blood.
I guess more of the question is, why is she locked in there with the beholder?
Now, do you think I put the beholder in there?
No,
Where am I going to find a clown at this hour?
I'm assuming the beholder was already in there, but when you locked her in there.
Well, that would have a lot of strange implications at that point. No, I think she dreamed up another one.
Why a clown? All right. Well, maybe.
Isn't she dating a clown?
Right. Yeah. I've not been able to keep appraised of a lot of what's been happening on the ship proper. It's usually either being on mission or doing another marathon of ship activities between missions. So,
yeah, I just checked the mind book status, and it said she was in a relationship. So.
Right.
On Clown Book, instead of it's complicated, it says it's hilarious.
The clown. I was trying to further. Is it a clown holder or a beclowner? Is that what we're going to call this one here?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't have. There's no canon. Honker. There's no canon names for any of these. I'm just making them up.
So Max.
I don't know what it would indicate, but I know that juggling it would be a relationship status. Like, oh, there's a few different people. I'm juggling it right now.
Sometimes you change it just to Waka Waka for a little bit.
Max just sort of thinks a bit. It's like, okay, how many more days do we have, Buford? I have a feeling there's more than 2 days left before Yash wakes up here. From all this.
Yeah, so I guess Buford is going to, under the assumption that both Max, him, and Mathers, Mathers might end up being the only awake person here, potentially. He's going to start trying to, like, get automated defenses up on this bunker, like, kind of dig in. In case anything happens while they're asleep, and like have like the IFF tag set up to be like, hey, Yaush's fleet, be advised, we have to turn these on because we're all falling asleep here.
All right, yeah. Do you have a roll for that? So proficiency with one of your, do you have a tool proficiency?
I've got a lot of tool proficiencies. I got Smith's tools. I took that as the closest thing to like engineering I could get. I guess there's also Tinker's tools, which I can do.
Yeah, let's try that.
I haven't done this all season. How do we roll tool stuff?
Just your proficiency bonus.
Got it. I think I have a thing for this. Laura, don't artificers get something for this? I think you've rolled it. Oh yeah, double proficiency. Okay,
yes.
where is that button on here?
I don't know if there's a button there per se. You can just do /RD20 plus 10 in that case.
Yes. Then I'll just roll my. I'll click Arcana because it's the same thing. 15.
Yeah, you can set up some defenses there. I think there's probably some already in the bunker that you can like turn back on. I don't know if you want to describe any of that, but you can help a little bit here.
Yeah, so I think it's like okay, so everything in Beholder world seems to be very eye focused, so it's a lot of like automated turrets with like that track things optically, laser tripwires that are like looking across stuff. Maybe some little like hovering drones that, oh, you know what? It's classic. The proposed Nightmare engine weapon of war. It's a little bunch of flying drones with bombs attached that just suicide rush into the nearest target.
Oh my god. All right, so turrets and drones.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like it's a bunch of turrets, but instead of guns, they just stare at you unsettlingly until you get bashful and like stop doing what you're trying to do to get in the base, you know? So it's just...
Yeah, it's called the disappointed father. And I think he'll actually pull Mathers aside. Well, actually, he doesn't need to pull him aside. He can say this in front of Max. That's no problem. And say, hey, kid, how are you doing?
How are we? I was sleepy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It seems like they might have missed their nap time. Hey, you're a brave boy, right?
Yeah, I was sheriff.
Yeah, you're...
Hey, he's gonna fix a little star on his chest.
I don't know where you got that from, but interesting, very cute. Well, you know,
A box of cereal.
Where did he find cereal here? Anyway, look, sheriffs, they're brave, they're tough, and they got a lot of responsibilities, right?
I think so.
Well, Max and I, well, we might get a little sleepy over the next few days, and you might have to...
No, I don't want everybody to be sweet but me.
I'm sorry, buddy, but sometimes, you know, some hard stuff happens. Do you think you can be a big, tough sheriff and hold down the fort if that occurs?
Oh, does that mean I'm gonna have to drink people?
Maybe. If all goes to plan, you won't. But if things get rough, I want you to do whatever you can to stay safe, okay?
Okay. Should I stop bad guys if they come in? I could grab everybody's guns so I could put like pew 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 pew. And then I don't know what happens after that. What happens to people after you shoot them?
We'll tell you about that when you're older. Ooh, we probably should have told you that before we brought you on these missions. I did not realize that conversation hadn't been had. Boy, beholder life cycles sure are interesting.
They were relegating it to the schools, but then they complained the schools shouldn't really be teaching that. They really should be the parents that teach about that, and then no one teaches them anything. So they get to a certain age, and they're like, I don't know what to do in this situation. So it's just really awkward.
I didn't realize we were recreating the TikTok where it's like Tully's monsters are currently experiencing critical levels of being a sleepy little guy.
Max is like seeing the worrying concern in Mathers, and is just trying to think of just ways to keep Mathers like placated / happy, entertained, and was going to propose giving Mathers some like bike rides around the base to just sort of like do something fun for the day to pass time. Sending out correspondence to Cammy if possible from here in terms of emails or otherwise, and that's all else Max can really think of doing for the time being. Because I just like it's hard to think of anything else they can actually do at the time with the space and what we have here.
Can I get Constitution saving throws?
Sure can.
Ugly doggly.
All right.
17.
And 5.
5. Max, can you paint me a picture of when you found Formith?
Sure. So this was during one of Max's deployments while they were still part of Ardwing. So this was, about a good year or two ago. So they were still in their mid to late teens, not even 18 yet. They were out doing some sort of, the best way to describe it is they're doing a sort of a patrol mission in an area. They get assaulted by a small strike team, think Star Fox, Star Wolf type scenario. Max goes out of formation to try to distract and draw away some attention, tries to do some maneuvers through a asteroid belt, but messes up, crashes into one of the asteroids, and is just stranded on there, pretty roughed up. While on there, there's sort of a little alcove and inside of which was the Formith cube that Max ended up picking up. Approaching the cube, sort of communicated to Max, indicating how they are sort of an acceptable host. Please present representative weapon, and everything else. And during that exchange, Max basically registers themselves into Formith in that whole process.
So this time, when you crawl out of the wreckage of your ship, two of the characters here defined crawling out of wreckage. You make your way across the asteroid to the alcove, and inside this cave, instead of a strange alien technological cube, you find a beholder. And this one, in fact, has a shaggy wolf's head design. One big eye in the middle, instead of the two normal eyes that a wolf would have. But otherwise, it's just a big, disembodied canine head. But interestingly, in the toothy maw at the bottom is where the eye is actually in that mouth. That's the first thing. All of the stalks on top would instead of ending in eyes like beholders you've seen before, they each end in long sickle claws. And this is the werewolf beholder that Yaush would have become if you had used the full moon injection last episode.
You found a way. You found a way.
And then this Yaush is just immediately pissed. Just like, I would have been so fucking badass if you'd let me be a werewolf. I'd be invincible. You ruined it. You little bitch.
I'm not the one that had the werewolves. That was Buford. So I mean,
you're all on a team. You could have spoken up. You could have made me cool.
I wasn't thinking about making you cool. I was just thinking about keeping you alive.
Who wants to live as being like a floating switchboard? I'm like the old me is a fucking node in a communication relay. I could have been an immortal killing machine.
So that would have helped you be, this great hero that is admired by everyone by being this immortal killing machine.
I would have been much more effective, and maybe I would have had sex appeal in certain demographics. So the people like werewolves.
So I've heard, but sorry for disappointing you again, I guess.
That's all you ever do.
Why I guess my thought is, and the reason why you stole this stuff from the Surlons was because of this whole hero thing of yours, right? It's just a means of creating that, or is it just a means of just getting intel and stuff, right?
I just wanted their military technology to build an army to win against the beholders who want to kill me. You know about them. You fought them. You shot a laser into their ship and exploded and froze it simultaneously. Those guys. It's
a very mysterious plan for me and the others. I guess you were part of Formith, because I don't think any of us got the memo that was the goal of all of this. We were just trying to help those around us, or impress the ones that we care about and stuff like that. So I feel that plan had a bit of a hitch in terms of executing on that particular outcome. But
take it up with the Surlons. I didn't invent this shit. Do you know their whole thing? I assume you downloaded the intel on the Surlons. You know that they are investing in their technology because they have a tradition called the Feast of Worlds, where they head out all over the galaxy and try to eat as many live sapient creatures as possible. It's like a Mardi Gras, but they eat living elves and dwarves and humans and halflings for fun.
And I'm assuming that because with the Formith system, that allowed them to do broad intel as well as create a means to ease themselves into somewhere to engage in this feast.
Of course, it's an incredible military weapon. It's a security, it's a surveillance system that lets you summon super weapons.
Right. So, I guess the point is, was that part of your plan that was basically to stop the Surlons ultimately?
No, I don't give a shit about them. I just wanted their tech.
I feel like this is just a lot to try to process and such. You commented about, it's just, I apologize for not having good ideas or plans or all that stuff, but I'm only like 18 and I'm still, trying to get this all figured out. So
if you're old enough to fly around shooting missiles at people, you're old enough to think for yourself.
I can think for myself. It's thinking for myself and being apt at thinking of plans that have broad-reaching implications about causality and the state of interplanetary, political stances and stuff. It's a little bit outside of my expertise.
Then you should have left it to the experts. I had plenty of expertise. You should have just listened to me.
Max just lets out a little frustrated sigh through their nose, just like, well, okay. Well, I have a feeling that your expertise is doing plenty in terms of just keeping me here until you finally wake up. So if you have any other questions for me, which I doubt you do, fire away, because I guess we're stuck here for a while.
What's it gonna take for you to destroy the Rezubian?
That's a good question, because to be fully honest, Cammy and I effectively had plans to sort of stay there on on an extended basis afterwards. She's been really fond of the people on there, and I have to say I am as well. Is it, when it comes to destroying the Rezubian, does it matter if the people are on there? Does it matter if it's just the vessel itself that's destroyed?
Yeah, the people can't travel through time.
And so is it that important to, because I thought that time traveling was part of your plan. So if we destroy the Rezubian, then we can't travel back in time. Is that what you want to stop from happening?
No, I'm just asking what you would be willing to give up to stop me, because I'm coming for it. I'm just curious, if you had to choose between blowing up the Rezubian to stop me, would you be willing to lose your precious Cammy? Or to save her, would you let me win?
I mean, I can't give up Cammy. You know that.
Perfect, Werewolf Yaush says, drool sliding down his fangs and onto the ground as he stares at you, smiling. His only fear is that someone would destroy the Rezubian before he steals it to execute Yaush's plan. But now he's reassured. Buford Gubbins, you are barely staying awake. What does it look like?
Yeah, if Buford can get, I guess, like a transponder to keep, to keep Mathers alive, great. If not, I guess he's just going to continue. He's gonna continue to nursemaid Yaush and check defense. You know what? I know what he's doing. He is recording a message for not just specifically Bridget, but for his family. Effectively, like, hey, if I don't make it out, if you're receiving this, he did not survive. And he's sorry that he wasn't there for what actually mattered.
I think Mather's gonna walk up and he's gonna have like a little ball. He's like, "Can you throw a ball back and forth for me before you take your big nap?"
Yeah, of course, buddy. I'd be happy to do that with you.
Thanks. I think I'm gonna be real brave when you're all asleep. And I'm gonna put pillows underneath your heads and cover you with hot dog stickers so you know that we're family.
Oh yeah, that's real nice, kid. You know, you're real good at throwing this ball. You ever think of playing baseball?
I don't know what that is. Is it like being a sheriff?
Not exactly.
Are there transferable skills?
All right, let's see here. There's a lot of running while you float, but it's sort of the same idea. Here, let's see if we can get you connected to the internet and download the MLB baseball game. You like video games, you'll get the idea.
Is there Mario in it?
I think there was a Mario baseball game. That might have been in Sonic versus the Olympic Games.
Sluggers? Mario Sluggers.
Yeah, let's get you playing some Mario Sluggers. I personally prefer Luigi. I like that little, I like that silly little plumber.
You're big and tall like Luigi.
That's true. I don't have a good jump height, though.
Oh, that's bad when you had to go over the piranha plants so they'll eat you. They'll bite your butt.
Yeah, I got more of a Bowser type build here.
Bowser's the bad guy.
Yeah, but
He's
sometimes
gonna narrow his eyes at you.
Well, sometimes they go go-karting and they're friends. You play Bowser's Inside Story? Probably not yet. You're 2 months old.
It's a more advanced level game.
I just want to let you know that I'm going to take care of you all while you're asleep because you all take care of me so much.
Yeah, Buford will, I guess, pat his head. He's all head. he's doing a comforting affirmative gesture, whatever that can be in this scenario. I can't really picture it. It's a cyborg and a blood-sucking beholder. It's very strange.
It's friendship, though. All right, so you are playing Mario Sluggers together when Buford's battery runs out.
Yeah.
What do you think you're dreaming about? I was assuming that traumatic pirate raid where you blew yourself up with a grenade.
Yeah, I think this... Yeah, Buford is like maybe 13, 14 years old at this point. And this is when like the family business is at its lowest. They have a single ship. They are taking the shittest, most dangerous, worst paying jobs because they have no other options. They're run down, they're in a bad spot, and they took a job that lied to them and effectively undersold the value of the cargo they were shipping, and that made them a target for pirates. And this is probably happening right as like Buford's waking up, I guess, to like the emergency klaxons blaring as the raid is occurring, and he knows that means he has to gather up his younger siblings, head to like a safe room, and like hunker down while his dad tries to fight off the intruders.
Yeah, so there's like absolute chaos in the dark hallways of the ship, people running. We don't need to belabor this. You know what's coming is you turn down a corridor, but instead of seeing a pirate, you see a beholder. But not just any beholder. What appears to be a floating skull.
Oh, a death tyrant.
Yep, this is a large skull, that it was the size of a regular beholder's body, but no flesh on it, no eye stalks, and in fact, no eye. In the socket where an eye would be, there's just a mad, dancing red light. And where all the eyes would be on the stalks around the head is just more floating red lights. And this death beholder type dream Yaush doesn't do any banter with you, doesn't tell you you're an embarrassing failure, or that his plan's gonna win, or any of that stuff. Just sees you and just starts shooting at you. Just lasers lance off of the red light as this toothy skull just floats towards you. If the clown beholder was like Yaush's like dark sense of humor, and the werewolf Yaush was like him wanting to be powerful and strong, and the cyber one was like wanting to use the tech to save the world, this is just like the nihilist inside of him. It's just like, I have a tadpole in my brain, fuck this world, I'm gonna kill everyone. And so he doesn't even try to parlay with you. Dexterity saving throw.
Okay, that's bad. 12.
Yep, that's not good. You're gonna take a truly shocking amount of damage. Who balanced these things? Gygax, you're insane. 49 damage.
What kind of damage?
Force.
Alright, I take half.
Alright, that was a disintegration ray that just strikes you full in the middle of the body, and the skull is just floating towards you. Eyes, the eye socket full of just hateful red light. What do you do?
Okay, 1 second. I just need to put the actual damage down. What was that? It was 25, I believe, or 24. Or round it up to 25. Okay. It sounds like there is no talking to this, especially because it's considered it's his like incarnation of just kill everything, fuck it. I think Buford would have maybe mumbled to himself, frankly, I was expecting the cyborg beholder. I think there's like a moment where Buford rounds the corner, and he's still like in his he's still like a teenager at this point, right? He hasn't like realized he's in a dream, and this like shocks him back to reality. And there is almost like if this was a movie, there'd be like a short like transition as all of these human parts of him that he's given up over the years are mechanically replaced in that moment, and he rushes into the fight because there is no point talking anymore. And I'll swing at him.
All right.
31 and 26.
Both those hit. Yeah, I think if anything, this Skull Beholder has like an eerie similarity with your mask, if anything, because part of it is drawn from your subconscious, you know? Both you and Trizzy are artificers, so either of you could have been Cyber Beholder, but...
Yeah. This is like the worst parts of Buford coming out here as like he took his anger out on the world like Yaush is trying to do now, and it's just made manifest and real. And he does 33 damage.
All right, that's a good hit. Let me do something here. All right, 3. That's a fear ray. Wisdom saving throw.
Crit 21.
Holy shit. So another eye laser shoots you just like square in the face, and you just close your eyes. I can shoot a bunch more of these, but I actually want to cut to Mathers. Buford fell asleep while you were playing Mario Sluggers, and he's the first one to take damage in a dream, and you see his body begin to be like racked by spasms, like almost like having a seizure.
I like to put a little pillow underneath them and then attempt a medicine check.
All right.
I'm using Saints of Sirius, which is a 19.
Mm-hmm. Great,
So
yeah.
I like to put little bandages where it looks like there's boo-boos. And give him like a big hug. Like, it's okay. It's just a dream.
Yeah, with a 19, I think you can see that there's like no physical damage. Like Buford is not being hurt. This is just like psychosomatic. But also, I think when you're getting this close and paying this close attention, you can feel like ambient psychic energy. Everyone now in the bunker is in a hive mind together. You're the only one who isn't.
Oh, I'm discorded.
Yeah, Mathers, is there anything you want to do?
I want to do a patrol. I got to patrol, make sure nobody's coming in. If I might get sweepy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just lead you, little guy. I've had such a long day, splashy bandits. Is this okay if I take one slab?
Yeah, do you want to roll Constitution? Or do you want a slab?
I think Mathers is going to try to stay awake as long as they humanly can, but I think narratively, yeah, they are just eventually going to fall asleep. They're just not like built that way yet.
What? Not even the excitement of Mario Sluggers can keep them awake.
That was like 4 hours ago, though. Like, you can't, like, without someone to play with, it's just boring. Computer cheats. I see it.
All right, can I get a Constitution saving throw?
How about Nate?
All right. I think eventually Mathers also begins to wane. You run out of blood. Buford's getting zapped up in the dream realm, but you start going on patrol, and you also are feeling tired. Where do you end up when you go to sleep?
I know it doesn't make sense. This is the future, but I imagined a big pile of tires and finding one that fits just right, like a little, like, it's like a whole shape for me, and just like really cozying in there like a cat.
I think that makes sense in like this is where Mathers went immediately after running away from Yaush the first time.
Yeah.
I was going to say that there's literally a hangar with vehicles in it we've established, so there can definitely be tires in here.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to find a little tire to get nestle inside of. It's just a real nap, and I'm going to wake right back up. Gotta be on patrol.
So, Mathers, you fall asleep, and you find yourself back in the trash room on the Rezubian, where Veltari the Bozog told you to stay for like 2 weeks as she came and stole your blood to make herself a vampire and was fully planning on you getting vaporized by the evulsion. And you're in this dark room. There's like the heat from the incinerator. There's some kind of smashing sound in the distance from like a crushing machine. It's like a oppressive, hellish kind of room. And something's coming towards you.
Hello? Can I come out? This room's scary.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know how to be reassuring. What do I say? Everything's going to be okay? That sounds right.
Is that Daddy?
Uh-huh. You see by the light of the fire from the incinerator, a mind witness float towards you. And, comes up to you, and the bottom tentacles without eyes on them kind of start to reach out, like, to comfort you, and then stop. I don't know what I'm doing.
I want to run up and hug him with my tentacles.
Aww.
Yeah, be like, I'm glad you're feeling better. You were sleeping a really long time.
Yeah, my whole brain is being twisted and shattered and regrown. It's very disorienting. Not as disorienting as this display of physical affection. Not sure why Earthlings find this. I feel like I'm being attacked. What do they enjoy about this?
They also like to do this. He's gonna take one of his eye stalks and boop it where a nose would be. Be like, boop. I don't really get it though, because that's just like skin for me. It's not a nose.
We need to destroy their culture, son. We have to replace it with something that makes sense. We can't let them keep getting away with this.
Oh, what if we get fake noses and then they can boop us on those?
Okay, either fake noses or the complete destruction of Earth culture. We'll decide later.
Yay!
But I don't know how to get us out of here. I'm trapped in my own body.
You don't know how to wake up?
Not really. No.
Well, I was told you can sometimes have like a dream where you control what's happening. What if you like dreamed up an alarm clock?
I think the making things real only happens with beholders. It's a reproductive mechanism, not a all reality altering mechanism.
What's reproductive mean?
Oh my gosh. I'll explain when you're older.
Okay. Well, then we just need to like wake up though, right?
Also, beholders can't intentionally dream up other beholders. It has to happen by accident. Otherwise, I would just dream up an army of like faithful, invincible soldiers.
You can't just dream up a behold alarm clock.
Oh my god. No, that'd be fucked up though. Just a disgusting like Cronenberg alarm clock eye creature. No, it has to come from the subconscious, without deliberate thought.
I subconsciously want a behold alarm clock.
But you're like really smart, so can't you think of something? Aren't we all like connected because of your brain?
Yes, I'm part illithid now. Maybe 50-50. So, my brain is your brain, I think. I don't know, it's all new to me.
Can't we like reach out to everybody's brains and like wake up? But like a little, then he's gonna like wiggle a little tentacle and be like a little brain boop like that.
A brain boop? I mean, we'd all have to be on the same wavelength. We'd have to be synced like some kind of hot dog family.
Dog family?
For that to work.
Can we roll for hot dog?
All right, do you want to roll for a hot dog, Mathers?
I don't know. Yes, I don't know what that means, but yes.
Let me look at a character sheet here.
Just
Do you ever find yourself rolling for hot dog?
let's see here. I would say,
Well, I'll tell you, after eating a hot dog, it's a survival check.
I think roll for hot dog might be a TikTok series.
yeah. It's you could. It's like, well, listen, Mathers is proficient with hot dog stickers, so you could just say that it's a tool proficiency there.
And because, these other beholders, they aren't in our family, they're going to stay asleep, right?
That's a great question. I mean, this is brain power in a way. So like, you're trying to reach out. Maybe it's like intelligence saving throw.
Okay. 23.
Holy shit! What a hot dog score.
What a great hot dog.
23 hot dogs is quite a lot, so yes.
Yeah. So separately, you're all getting bullied by beholders who are like much stronger than you. I think you all realize, like, we when we fought a beholder as a team of high level characters, we almost died. So 1-on-1, none of you attacked first. I was interested to see if any of you were like, shut the fuck up, and just like tried to stab them. But so yeah, each of you are like in your own little pocket of dream here, and then Mathers reaches out with eye stalks, or not even eye stalks, right? They're mouth stalks, and does a kind of dream boop. What does this look like? All of you being rejoined together.
I would like to think that in each of these like different worlds, a little like wispy portal opens and a little tendril comes out and boops everybody on the nose.
I think Buford's body is in the process of being disintegrated while that happens.
There's still a nose. You don't need a body to have a nose.
Yeah, I mean, Buford's the only one who's like currently under fire. Do you imagine that the tendril comes through the portal, gives you a boop, and you're all kind of pulled together in the dream, or does the boop wake you up in the real world?
I mean, I can imagine there being like a stage before waking up in the real world, which is like all of these realities colliding. Yeah. And it's
we're all in one very messy dream.
Yeah, it's this weird hodgepodge of all of our different dreams.
Yeah, there's a medieval elf tower inside the construction site of the Rezubian on an asteroid that is under fire by pirates.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think if you're all there together, what do you say? If so, you've all been brought together by Mathers.
Trizzy's first observation upon this happening is to go, I knew someone would show up to come get me and my exploded body. Heck yeah.
When we wake up, there's an angry death tyrant we have to deal with.
Oh, there's more than just a death tyrant. By the way, Mathers, that's going there. That was...
I did it! I boops everybody on the nose.
You're the best sheriff around, kid.
I ain't have to pull out my gun, which I have, a loaded gun.
Who gave Mathers a gun?
we maybe should expose him to less propaganda. This is there's a lot going on here.
Like, what you got there? A gun! No! Just like...
He probably should have therapy, not the one therapist we all know.
All right, well... We're all here, but we're still asleep, right? So, how do we break out of this?
So Mathers brings you all together, touching each dream with a vampiric mouth tendril. And so you find yourselves all on the comet where Max crash landed. You find yourself in the shipyard where Trizzy built a Rezubian. You find yourself outside the tower where Cecilia was imprisoned. And you find yourself in the middle of the pirate raid where Buford famously blew himself up. But as you all stand there, you see approaching from each direction from one of these landmarks a beholder. The death tyrant beholder with a skull like Buford's mask. The werewolf beholder like Yaush almost became. A clown beholder laughing maniacally to itself, and the cyber beholder, each tendril, each eye stalk tipped with a security camera, and each of them are coming for you. If you die in the dream, you die in real life. Roll initiative.